Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's Science classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 25th December 2021. First of all, I want to wish you a very happy Christmas for all of you. And I wish this Christmas will bring you prosperity and as well as health for you all. So now let's come back and let us try to see which are the topics now we are going to have our discussion. So we are going to discuss about 6 topics which are very much relevant from our UPSC point of view. So now let us have a small brief idea regarding which are the topics now we are going to discuss. So first article is about Omicron. So especially it is talking about counting of these Omicron cases, and other mainly says that there are a number of if you are comparing the number of positive cases, and in those positive cases of this COVID-19, so Omicron cases are very less. But whatever the thing which is showcased by many media TV channels and even our health ministry, which is mainly focusing on this Omicron. So here this article mainly says that what can we do and how can we change our counting method such that we can have an appropriate data regarding this Omicron. So this topic is important from health, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic is about striking fear. So actually this article which is about hate speech. Okay, so already regarding this hate speech, we discussed number of times in our Hindu analysis what is hate speech and what are the causes, what are the implications. And now we are going to see article which is mainly present in your editorial page regarding recent incitement of violence against Muslims. Okay, so now this article will be important from your polity point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And students who are going to write this year means they need to focus on this hate speech for sure. And next one is half of tested Omicron cases had 2 doses. So this article mainly says that even though after completion of your complete COVID-19 vaccination of 2 doses, so you will be having danger of getting this Omicron. So this is the thing which mainly said by ICMR. So here you need to focus on this, what is ICMR as well. So this will be important from your health, which mainly comes under your GS paper 2. And next topic is about visa. Okay, US waives in-person visa interviews for 2022. So here you need to focus on what is this in-person visa interview. It is nothing but it is like a data collection method. So in this data collection method, your data which is important, that mainly collected under this interview, right? And this is important from your economy point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. And next topic is about monetary policy and is financially inclusive. So here we need to talk about what is this financial inclusion, and here you need to know about what is this monetary policy of RBI as well. So this is important from your economy, and it is very important from your basic static syllabus. And next one is GDP to grow 8.2% in financial year 2023 with more downside risk. So this article mainly talking about our GDP estimates. Again, this topic will be important from your economy point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. So now we are going to discuss these topics. Actually, there are nothing much more important articles in news today. So we have to do this. Okay, so let us try to see these articles. So if we're talking about first article, title says simple ways to better counts of Omicron in India. So it is talking about counting of this Omicron cases. So if you're talking about recently Omicron, it is a new SARS coronavirus variant, and there are many mutations, more than 50 mutations are seen in this Omicron, and that led to increasing transmissibility. So because of these mutations in this Omicron, that is also decreasing effectiveness of this vaccines we already took. Okay, so this is the third article we are going to discuss regarding efficacy of vaccines. And if you're talking about context, the reported cases of identified Omicron infections come from genomic surveillance, which is mainly mounted by this Indian SARS coronavirus to genome consortium. So many countries, they are saying that there is increasing of cases of this Omicron, and because of this Omicron there is increasing of transmissibility that is seen in the community. So now if you want to find whether that positive COVID-19 case which is related to this Omicron or not, we need to go for genome sequencing. So this genome sequencing mainly done by this InSocog. So genome sequencing method is a very complex, and only 38 laboratories which are present across our India, they have ability mainly to sequence this virus. Okay, and we can identify whether this variant, it is Omicron variant or not. So as a result, only a small fraction of infected individuals mainly contribute to the virus sampling or for sequencing. That means how many cases that are reported in India, we are not going for complete cases for this genome sequencing. Only a very small cases we are mainly going for this genome sequences, because lack of proper infrastructure, because of only 38 laboratories across the country, they have the ability to sequence this virus. And the numbers reported by this media and as well as our health ministry says that there is rapid infection. There are number of cases which are increasing regarding this Omicron cases. So this is, I can say, like it is a media error when it reports as the number of cases in the country are increasing and those are Omicron cases. So we're talking about calculation method of this cases. So Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which mainly reports that in December, India performed about 12 lakh RT-PCR tests a day, and out of this about 0.5% of test results were positive. Okay, so daily target here is about 12 lakh RT-PCR tests, and out of this only just 0.5% test are mainly seen as positive. So in the first 2 weeks of December, about 1.7 crore tests they performed nationally, and among this about 80,000 people they were tested positive during this time. And out of this, whenever we went for this genome sequencing, just perhaps 1%, okay, 1% of COVID-19 positive cases they were going for sequencing. And however, if you're talking about public health agencies that are present across the world, they have proceeded on assumption that Omicron variant arose recently and is still transporting around the world here. So just based on the numbers that we know, that media and other public sources, they mainly says that more than 5%, and definitely which is less than 25% of cases that are mainly recorded in this first 2 weeks of December because of this Omicron variant. So there are many sources like media and as well as some public sources which mainly says that due to this Omicron variant, there is increasing of number of cases for 5 to 25%. And if you're talking about this article, author mainly says that we need to improve this estimation method here, because even though the cases which are not because of this Omicron, we are claiming that they are because of Omicron, and that will lead to increase in the tension in the people, right, increase the stress in the people, and people might be thinking like once again whether this lockdown will be imposed or not. So further it will have some impact on our economy as a whole. So we're talking about, author mainly says that we need to improve estimation method. So agencies which mainly handle with this data and scientists who mainly do the scientific models or statistic models, they would able to refine these estimates immensely, and they need to come up with a narrowing of the range of uncertainty. So uncertainty range should be decreased. And next one is, if the number of genomes sequenced from these infected travelers and even others, they need to be taken separately, right, and such that we can have more easier access to the data, right, and the number will be changing every week here. So 1 week we can see hike of cases, and 1 week we can see low of cases, like that. So whenever this number which is changing every week, is Omicron spreading faster than Delta variant? So the variant which gave India its second wave. So one question which mainly asked by author here is, so whenever the number of cases which are increasing every week or will be changing every week, so is Omicron which is spreading very much faster? Okay, so the answer is if yes, when the week by week the fraction of Omicron cases would increase as it out competes with this Delta variant is infecting people. So this has happened in other parts of the world and it could be happen here too. So we need to have a proper estimation and we need to have a proper data analytical methods. So this is just of this topic, and now let us try to see next topic. It is about striking fear. So this article mainly talking about this hate speech, and now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So we're talking about this article. Recently what happened? A conclave of Hindu religious leaders and political activists in saffron robes held recently in holy city, that is in Haridwar. In Haridwar, religious leaders, Hindu religious leaders and nationalist political activists, they mainly come up with one meeting. Okay, so in this meeting, they made some statements. So these statements are having some incitement to create violence in community, that is like hate speech. So because of this meeting, that led to a great shame to the country, and even it is mainly undermining constitution and as well as religious values as well. So now let us try to see what they said. So this meeting or conclave is also called as Dharma Sansad or a religious parliament. So in this religious parliament, some statements were released, and these statements, they had some inflammatory and as well as provocative speeches that made unconscionable calls for genocide against Muslims and asked Hindus to take arms. So in this conclave, it is also called as Dharma Sansad, or we can say like religious parliament. So in this meeting, they mainly delivered speeches regarding some inflammatory, and even it is having some provocative action. Okay, so here this speech is also saying that we need to go for genocide against Muslims and Hindus need to take arms themselves. So this is one important thing which mainly discussed in this conclave. So thereafter, offensive themes which are running through these speeches, so the video clips have been released, video footages. So because of this, that led to violence. Okay, so, and in this speech, they also made some references regarding Myanmar like cleansing campaign. So, in Myanmar, especially in Rakhine state, so these Rohingyas are minority Muslims, right? So these Rohingyas are mainly had some genocide, not exactly genocide, but army and this Rohingyas conflict that happened, and that led to the flee of these Rohingyas, right, to the nearby countries like India and as well as Bangladesh. So in this way here, this conclave is also focused on this Myanmar like cleansing campaign, and in this way, whenever we are getting some incitements or provocations from this type of these religious leaders, that will be a more horrible than compared to that of 1857. So 1857, which is very much famous for this Sepoy Mutiny, right? So also they made one more statement like here. One speaker had and that he would have turned into a godse and shot a former prime minister in the parliament. So these are some important statements which are given, and they have some provocative action or provocative intent that is mainly created in the society. So if you're talking about way forward, what can be done? So those occupying positions of power and as well as high offices in government, especially prime minister and as well as union home minister, they need to take a clear stand. So here from government side, they need to take a clear stand against this. And next one is the political leadership must explicitly denounce the event and affirm that it mainly stands constitutional values, for example secularism, for example religious tolerance, preservation of the rule of law, etc. So they need to follow all these constitutional principles. And the police in Uttarakhand, they should act more resolutely, and they need to invoke all applicable provisions of the law and not be content with the solitary FIR under this section 153A of IPC, which mainly deals with promoting anonymity between the groups. Okay, so police in Uttarakhand, they should act more resolutely, and as well as they need to invoke all applicable provisions of law and not be with the intent like getting filing of FIR, but it mainly deals with the promoting of enmity between the groups, that is for example Hindus and Muslims, Hindus and Christians, like that. So this is just of this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says half of tested Omicron cases had two doses, says ICMR. ICMR says that after testing this Omicron cases, so half of the people who got this Omicron, they have already done with this COVID-19 vaccine. Here we need to talk about this efficacy of vaccine. So because of this variants of the SARS coronavirus, and they are having more than 50 mutations, so out of this more than 38 are present in itself in this spike protein. So because of this, even if you have undergone or taken this vaccine, so efficacy of vaccine, it is very low. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said in this article. So now let us try to see some important facts. So now let us try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that with India identifying nearly 358 cases, okay, about 358 cases of this Omicron variant of this COVID-19, and they came up with analysis of 183 of them, okay. And ICMR, so Indian Council of Medical Research, mainly found that nearly half of them, they were fully vaccinated, okay. So even though you got this 2 doses of this vaccine, so you are vulnerable to this Omicron says that all are equal before eyes of law. So we are having a quote like all are equal before eyes of law, right? So even though if you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, you are equal before this Omicron variant as well. Just kidding, okay? Don't take it serious. And now let us try to see some important details which are given in this article. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that a little over a quarter had no international travel history, but they had likely to come in contact with those infected. So for example, here many times here, as we all know, transmission rate is very high in these Omicron cases. So when we are coming into contact with the people who already got this coronavirus, means we will be having high chances to get that as well, because it is a highly communicable disease. So a little over a quarter, that means we can say like more than 25% of people, they do not have proper international travel history, but they come in contact with the infected people, and none of those evaluated had severe symptoms, but the symptoms are very very mild, which is mainly close to 73% of being asymptomatic, and of the 60% they were men itself. So these are some statistics. And if you're talking about some facts regarding this ICMR, so Indian Council of Medical Research, it is an apex body in India, and it is responsible for formulation, coordination, promotion of this biomedical research, and its mandate is to conduct, coordinate and implement this medical research for the benefit of the society, okay. And it is mainly funded by Government of India through Department of Health Research, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So these are the ministries which are mainly funding this, okay, ICMR. So this is just of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. Now let us try to see next topic. Title says US waives in-person visa interviews for 2022. So this article mainly talking about US waives, that means removes in-person visa interviews. So this article is important from international relations point of view and even economy point of view. So how can we relate this topic with economy? So whenever Indians were going to other countries and they are getting some income there, means some amount will be sent back to country, that will call as remittances. So from remittances point of view, India is the largest remittance receiving country, right? So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that amid growing concerns of surging COVID-19 cases, the US has announced a waiver of in-person interviews for a range of visa applications during entire 2022. It also includes even H-1B visa. So now and then this H-1B visa will be seen in news, and this visa, it is regarding any company which it needs to employ these foreign workers, they will give this H-1B visa, okay. So here context mainly says that because of this growing concerns of this COVID-19 cases, now US announced a waiver for this in-person interview. So now let us try to see some details. If you see details, it mainly says that this H-1B visa, it is a non-immigrant visa, and this visa mainly allows US companies to employ foreign workers in specialty occupations here. So if any company want to go for giving some employment to other countries workers, they need to go for giving of this H-1B visa. So the Department of State of US, which mainly announced that consular officers, they are now temporarily authorized through December 31st, 2022. And even they are going to waive this interviews, okay, in-person interviews for certain individual petition based non-immigrant work visas, okay. So some of the important visas includes H-1B visa, and as well as trainee or special education visitors H-3 visa, and intra-company transfers L visas, individuals with extraordinary ability and achievement, that is O visas, athletes, artists and entertainers for P visa, and participants in international culture exchange programs, that is Q visas. So there are different types of the visas. You have to remember these visas for sure. And now let us try to see next topic. It is about monetary policy is financially inclusive. So here we need to focus on this monetary policy, and here we need to focus on this financial inclusiveness. So if you're talking about RBI will have this monetary policy. So under this monetary policy, it will be increasing or decreasing the rates. There are different instruments under this monetary policy like repo rate, reverse repo rate, marginal standing, MSF, and as well as we can say like open market operation. So there are many instruments that are present under this monetary policy. So now let us try to see why this monetary policy is in news. So if you see context, it mainly says that India's monetary policy is by designed finally inclusive. So RBI mainly says that whatever the monetary policy, it is mainly designed by RBI. It is financially inclusive, and there is also evidence that there is a still coalescing. That means we can see there is a dip in our economy, and also RBI says that there is increasing of financial inclusion. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said by RBI itself. And if you are talking about some important details that are given in this article, which mainly says that although it is empirically observed that there is a two-way relationship between the monetary policy and financial inclusion, so now it mainly, so if you're talking about this financial inclusion, which has ability to dampen inflation and output volatility. Okay, so if you're talking about this article, which mainly says that even though monetary policy which is mainly focusing on financial inclusion, there are some concerns which are mainly present here. So concern here is there is decreasing of consumption. Okay, so whenever the consumption is decreasing, what happens? So there will be no demand in our economy here, that will leads to economic crisis. Okay, and apart from that, RBI also says that according to this RBI's financial inclusion index, it is mainly rising. When we compare with March 2019, it was 49.9, and in 2020 it is 53.1, and in March 2021 it is 53.9. That is increasing of financial inclusion. Okay, so here if you're talking about financial inclusion, which is very much low in rural areas, and those are especially dependent on this agriculture areas, and in these areas just only food, it is the main source of income. So we're talking about some facts regarding this financial inclusion. So what is this financial inclusion? So financial inclusion is mainly defined as the process of ensuring access to financial services. We are mainly focusing on access to these financial services and even timely and adequate credit where needed by these vulnerable groups such as weaker sections and as well as low income groups at affordable cost. So financial inclusion means nothing but, in simple layman terms, financial services which are mainly provided timely and even adequate credit, especially for the weaker sections of society and even lower income groups at an affordable cost. And if you're talking about this monetary policy, which is mainly adopted by monetary authority of country, and it mainly controls either the interest rate, which mainly payable on very short term borrowings, or money supply. So if we're talking about this monetary policy of RBI, so it is nothing but it mainly controls interest rate. Okay, interest rate that should be payable on very short term borrowing, and this policy which mainly targets inflation rate, and it is mainly focusing on ensuring of price stability. That means if there is inflation in the market, that means it mainly decreases money supply in the market. So money supply will be decreased by increasing of interest rate, and if there is low inflation means it need to increase money supply in the market. So money supply means it mainly decreases this interest rate. Okay, and now let us try to see next topic. It is about GDP growth or GDP estimates. So GDP to grow 8.2% in financial year 2023 with more downside risk. Okay, so before seeing that, you have to see what is this repo rate. Okay, what is this repo rate, what is this reverse repo rate, and how monetary policy which is mainly decreasing this repo rate and increasing this repo rate. So repo rate means nothing but here we have RBI, here we have banks. Okay, so banks, whenever they are getting money as a loan from RBI, they need to pay interest rate. So this interest rate, it is called as repo rate. So whenever RBI is getting money from the bank, on that money RBI need to pay interest, that is called as reverse repo rate. So what will be the impact whenever there is increasing of repo rate and reverse repo rate? So you have to let me know in comment box. Okay, and now let us try to see next topic is about GDP estimate. Title says that GDP to grow 8.2% in financial year 23 with more downside risk. There is estimate, that is there is a growth of this GDP that is about 8.2% in financial year 2023. So now let us try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that warning that the new year would be riskier than previous two in the terms of growth. So when we are comparing with the growth of last 2 years, this year the growth and as well as we are seeing there is inflation. Yesterday I went to a vegetable market and I found the price of this vegetables are too high in the market, like 50 rupees to 60 rupees kg tomato, and for capsicum it is 85 rupees per kg, and even if you are talking about rich gourd, it is like 200 rupees kg. So there is a high rate of inflation that is seen in each and every vegetable. If you want to take half kg, it is like 40 to 50 rupees, even lady's finger, etc. Okay, so here we are seeing a high rate of inflation that is seen especially in this retail price, and even there is a perils of monetary policy normalization, etc. So here this is the thing which mainly said by Wall Street brokerage. Okay, so Wall Street brokerage mainly said that there is increasing of inflation, and because of this increasing of inflation there will be demand that will be decreased in the market, such that it will be having some negative effect on the growth, and mainly estimate that 8.2% of GDP growth that is mainly going to see in this next fiscal year. So if you're talking about some more details, it mainly says that the biggest risk of projection is mainly derailed consumption demand. There is decreasing of demand for the consumption in the market. So this is one important impact that can be seen as some negative impact on our economy. And also said that the Bank of America Securities India House economists, they mainly believe that consumption demand will be one of the key driver of the growth. Whenever there is an increasing of consumption or the demand, then that will lead to economical recovery. So whenever the consumption and the demand which is decreasing means that will be having some negative impact on our economy. So here they mainly estimated that here economic growth, that is GDP growth, it is might be like 8.5%. Okay, and next one here is let us try to see some facts regarding this GDP. So GDP mainly stands for gross domestic product, and if you're talking about what this is, GDP means nothing but if you see any country is present, and in this country we are going for production of goods and as well as services, and total value of those finished goods and services within a country and within a time period, that is within 1 year, that is called as a GDP. So if we're talking about this GVA, which is mainly there is one word that is seen in this article, that is GVA, that is mainly stands for gross value added. So this gross value added is one of the method of a total output and income that is seen in the economy. So it mainly, so this GVA mainly provides rupee value for number of goods and services that mainly produced within a country within a time period of 1 year. So it is like a sector specific picture. It will provide some sector specific picture. So what is a growth in so and so industry or so and so sector, so and so area, it will be giving like sector specific picture. At the macro level, the national accounting perspective, so GVA is the sum of country's GDP and as well as a net of subsidies and taxes. So here you need to know one important formula. GVA is equal to GDP plus subsidies minus taxes on the product. So you have to remember this formula. So some formula based questions can also be seen in your prelims. So this is just of this topic. And one more thing I want to say here is, so from January 3rd, that is first Monday of January, that is on January 3rd, mains answer writing course it is started. That is new batch of this mains answer writing course is started. So please join that course, and this is very beneficial. Many students who are benefiting from this program. And if you want to clear this UPSC, you need to focus on mains for sure, because if you have good command and if you have good writing skills and if you have improved your answer writing speed, means for sure I will be assuring you that your name will be seen in finalist for sure. So for this, you need to join this mains answer writing course. So we will be giving you very little syllabus, just 2 to 3 chapters per week, and daily we will give you one question. So there will be consistency in your preparation as well. So it is not going to disturb your earlier whatever the preparation chart you came up with. So this mains answer writing course is very useful and highly beneficial, and from January 3rd new batch is going to be start. Just there is a 1 week of time. Please arrange the money and try to join this course. And I'm wishing you that we are going to have a long journey for next 1 year if you join this mains answer writing course. And we also provide you one-to-one mentorship. There will be evaluation of your answers, and we also provide you model answers as well. And next one is prelims test series is there, and you can also join that prelims test series, and there we are providing questions based on your GSN as well as your CSAT. And next important thing is we also came up with this foundational course. You can join that foundational course. We are providing more than 700 hours of video recorded lectures, so you can sit at your home in your convenience, and you can watch those lectures and you can get concept clarity. And apart from that, we also have launched individual courses like economy, history, geography, disaster management, science and technology, environment and ecology. So you can also join those courses. That will be very beneficial for your both prelims and mains. So details of these courses are given in the description box. And if you want to watch any demo videos, you can register in our website of Rathod's IAS Academy. Then you can watch 3 demo videos in each and every module. So by this, I'm concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And once again, a very happy Christmas for all of you. Thank you so much.